You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And tonight, the Warriors gutted out an impressive road win over the Orlando Magic, 101-93, despite missing both Jonathan Kuminga, who was out with knee soreness, and Draymond Green, who was ejected shortly into the start of this matchup. Steph Curry came up with two huge buckets in the fourth quarter to close this one out, and even broke out the night-night celebration afterwards. Andrew Wiggins played one of the best games of the season, and he was in attack mode all night long, led the Warriors in scoring, sealed the game at the end with a block on that Magic final possession. This might be the most impressive set of back-to-back wins for the Warriors this season, maybe even the single most impressive win down this playoff push. This was amazing. We will break it all down. But first, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Please, 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 please. Several of you subscribed yesterday. Thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Woo, what a game. This one was fun from the start to the finish. This game was really entertaining. It was herky-jerky in the first quarter. It did not have any flow, but it was entertaining nonetheless. You had Steph Curry showing more emotion than I've seen him show in a game, in a regular season game, maybe ever. I mean, Steph looked like, let's back up real quick. Draymond gets ejected, right? Steph Curry picks up a foul. Draymond Green, who had just picked up a foul on the previous possession and was unhappy with that, was unhappy with the foul that was called on Steph. He starts yelling at the officials. The broadcast goes to break. We come back and they say, by the way, Draymond was ejected over that timeout because the officials just basically stood by him and wouldn't walk away from him when he was in the timeout with everybody. And like, usually the officials will walk away from a disgruntled player. And I mean, yeah, Draymond needs to learn how to control himself, but this just seems like one of those things where they almost like baited him into doing it, like where they were waiting for Draymond to like blow his top and they were just sitting there looking for a reason to toss him from this game. I thought this spelled disaster for the Warriors from the second this happened. But you know what happened immediately after that? Steph went to the bench. It looked like he was crying, man. Like, I'm going to retweet this on my Twitter right after the show. I want you all to go check it out. If you didn't see this during the broadcast, you can follow me on Twitter at Eric_Engel. That's Eric with a K, by the way, the right way to spell it. And I'll retweet that video after the show is done. But Steph was crying. It looked like he had his face in his jersey after this Draymond ejection. Like, if that doesn't tell you how important this game was, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this was a playoff game for the Warriors. The way it was coached, the way players played with intensity throughout this game, the defense, oh man, this was a playoff atmosphere 100% down in Orlando, the Magic City. And after Draymond was ejected, the Warriors actually went on a 17-3 run, a massive, massive shift in this game. The Magic essentially never overcame that. They got close a couple times, shrank the lead to as little as 4 there in the fourth quarter, but the Warriors pulling it out. And I'll tell you what, with no Jonathan Kuminga and no Draymond, this was Andrew Wiggins. This was the Andrew Wiggins game, who led them with 23 points, had that block at the end. I mean, he was active all night long, soared down the lane for a massive dunk in the middle of this game. He was in attack mode all night long. That was evident. Very first possession, number one play of this game, very first possession of this game. Wiggins gets Fultz on a switch and goes right at him and scores a bucket in the paint. That is exactly what you want to see to him. What we've been screaming about on this show basically since its inception a couple months ago, for Andrew Wiggins to just do this, please. And we've all been screaming this as Warriors fans since long before this show started, but man, was it so good to see him get out there. And he was active on the boards. He was active on defense. Andrew Wiggins' final stat line, 6 rebounds, 23 points, and 2 blocks and a steal. Like, that's exactly what you want from Andrew Wiggins in a game like tonight when you had to have it. Everything was on the line and you needed a win. You didn't have your full array of superstars. You were missing 2 huge key components of this team. Who is going to step up? Obviously, the Magic were going to lock down Steph. Second game of a back-to-back. You know Klay's not feeling great. You know Steph's 36 is 36 in the NBA. That's not easy to overcome. And Andrew Blanken Wiggins, man, stepped up. For every bad thing I've said about him on this podcast leading up to tonight, he made me eat every single one of my words. And I'm so glad he did, because man, the Warriors would not have stood a chance tonight without him. This game was so clunky, and he provided all of the intangibles to get them through that clunkiness. And he wasn't alone, obviously. Steph had that great fourth quarter there with those. And I say great fourth quarter. He didn't even score until there was about a minute left in the game, and then he gets Franz Wagner on a switch on the outside, dribbles around Banchero, and gets a right-handed layup floater runner shot kind of thing, leaning out into the baseline, and somehow it falls. And then very next possession hits a step back three for the dagger and hits him with the night celebration, runs back to the bench and kicks a chair over, man. Steph flexing at the crowd. Like, this is the most intense I have seen Steph in a regular season game. I am very excited to hear what he has to say post game in this one, because man, Steph was, just so emotional in this. I don't even know another word to use to describe what Steph Curry was tonight, but emotional is the word. I haven't seen Steph like that since a playoff game, since like in a NBA finals. Like that looked like Boston in Boston. That was like the same level of intensity back in 2022. That it seemed like the same intensity from Steph, and that blew my mind tonight. And it's really good to see, because they need to turn it on. They need to win games. Every single game matters. This is their playoffs right now. Right now. The Warriors have already started their playoff season, essentially. They need to win every single game that they can from this point forward. The Houston Rockets play tonight. Warriors now a game and a half. Rockets, I believe, are playing right now against the OKC Thunder, who do not have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tonight. So Rockets, who have won 9 in a row, are going to look to keep rolling against a shorthanded Thunder team. And if they win this one, they'll be still one game back from the Warriors. So you have to assume that the Rockets are going to keep winning, and you have to keep pushing yourself also. The Warriors doing everything they could tonight to not let the Magic beat them. They focused a lot on stopping Pablo Banchero, who was 5 for 17 from the field, only 1 for 7 from three-point land, finished with 15 points and a -24 plus minus. He took a ton of bad shots in this game. The Warriors did a great job on defense against him, and it was extra impressive because there was no Draymond Green. This might have been the best defensive game that I've seen the Warriors play ever without Draymond Green in the Draymond Green era. This was a clinic, an absolute clinic on the defensive side of the ball. Andrew Wiggins was all over the floor. GP2 all over the floor. The Warriors causing chaos for the Magic. I mean, they had 6 blocks, 5 steals. They were all over the floor tonight, and it was just gritty, man. Like this whole game, so many good defensive possessions, closing out on shooters. The Warriors kind of let the Magic shoot a lot of threes in this one, and that seemed to be their game plan going into it, which was a little risky because they have been shooting from three pretty well since the All-Star break, but they're not one of the better three-point shooting teams in the NBA throughout this season as a whole. The Warriors banked on them regressing to the mean, and they more or less did tonight. The Magic only shot 31% from three-point land, which was actually better than the Warriors. They shot 29%. Both teams made 10 three-pointers. Not the normal way you see the Warriors win a game. I mean, they won through defense and points in the paint. 54 points in the paint, more than half their points coming in the paint. 18 second chance points, a ton of work on the glass. They won the rebounding battle 62-49. They did all of the little things, and that's how you win games when you can't just outshoot people, which the Warriors have proven time and time again recently that they're struggling to do as the rest of the league catches up to them in the three-point barrage competition that it seems the NBA has turned into. The Warriors can't just rely on their three-point shooting in the way that they used to. I mean, Steph has over 300 threes this year. In the past, that would seem like automatic lock for MVP. Steph's not even in the conversation right now for MVP in the NBA. And you know, that's just the league that we have nowadays. And so you can't just rely on that the way you used to. You have to do all of these other little things. And the Warriors did. They rebounded really, really, really well. Brandon Pajemski, 4 offensive rebounds. He finished with 9 rebounds tonight. He had 8 of them in the first half. Like, that's a guard pulling down 9 rebounds off the bench for your team. It is impressive the way that this team gets after it. Trace Jackson Davis, we got to mention, also drew the start tonight with John Kuminga out. Klay Thompson also in the starting lineup as well. Brandon Pajemski stays on the bench, and this starting lineup really looked good together. They clicked. We've been talking a lot about TJD maybe having earned that spot. He played 33 minutes tonight, which is really impressive considering he was having a hard time playing even 20 minutes like less than a month ago a game. And he finished with 14 boards, 14 rebounds, 8 points, 5 offensive boards. This was, I mean, everything the Warriors needed to do, all the little things, they did it. They moved the ball, tons of assists tonight as well. Everything worked. Everything worked for the Warriors. Steph Curry finished with 10 assists, double-double for him, 17 points. Led the Warriors with a plus 18, plus minus. Warriors didn't turn the ball over a ton tonight, but you'd like to see fewer turnovers. There were 12 turnovers tonight, more than the Orlando Magic had. The Warriors did lose the turnover battle, but they kept it close, and they didn't put the Magic on the line a ton. In the Magic, when they were at the line, didn't really shoot very well. If the Magic sink their free throws, this game looks a lot different, but the Magic only 52% from the free throw line in this one. That was big as well. 11 for 21 from the charity stripe. I can guarantee you they're going to be talking about that in that locker room afterwards. And this was a tough matchup for the Warriors. You knew that the Magic were going to be one of the best, like they are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. I believe they're 3rd in the NBA in defensive rating, first since the All-Star break. And you know that with their length, I mean, they start 3 different guys that are 6'10". I mean, it just seems like everybody on this team would be the tallest player or second tallest player on the Warriors. And you knew they were going to get to close out these 3-point shooters a little bit quicker because of these big bodies they have, these tall, lanky, guys on the wing, like Jonathan Isaac, who had a pretty impactful 24 minutes tonight. But he finished with 9 points and played pretty well all around. He had four boards and 2 blocks and a steal as well. But they have a ton of guys like that who can just get up on you and get into your grill and contest really tough, got really long wingspans and can make life hard for shooters. And that's exactly what they did tonight. The Warriors did not shoot well, shoot below 30% from 3, and somehow still pull it out. I'm very impressed. And Andrew Wiggins made me eat every single one of my words, and I am so glad that he did. We got a lot more to break down in this game. This one was really fun. I was juiced watching this game from start to finish. We got a ton to break down. Stick with us on the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and we will be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whatever you're into, speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and I just can't get over how impressive this win was for the Warriors tonight. I think this might be the most impressive win, for sure, the most impressive win on a back-to-back that they've had this season, for sure. I mean, to go to Florida and beat both Florida teams on the other side of the U.S. on like a whiplash road trip, back-to-back nights, that's impressive. We talked on the last postcast about how this is a tough road trip, how there's a lot of stuff to get into in Miami, you know what I'm saying? And you can go have some fun at night out there and enjoy the nightlife, maybe stay up till 3-4 in the morning by accident and then realize, oh no, I got a basketball game tomorrow. It wouldn't be the first time some NBA players have done that. We all know this. And the Warriors didn't do that. They are locked in. They are ready to go. They are in playoff mode. And I mean, that's to be expected when you have a team with this many veterans that has been there, done that before. Steve Kerr isn't going to, put up with that BS, so to speak. And I'm sure that the Warriors were ready to go for tonight's game and not engaging in too much tomfoolery last night prior to this game against the Magic. But this was a tough one, man. I mean, the Magic have a ton of size. The Warriors are small. They start 3 different guys over 6'10". As I said, number 3 defensive team in the league, number 1 since the All-Star break, and they were 25-10 at home coming into tonight. Now 25-11 with the loss. But for the Warriors to come in against a team like this and dominate, rebounding, points in the paint against a bigger team and just not have the shooting there tonight, this is impressive. And to do it all without Draymond Green, your heart and soul of your defense, you're one of your best rebounders, your tone setter. I mean, this was impressive. This was so impressive to me. The Warriors stepped up when they needed to. And we talked about, I ended the last show yesterday saying, I wonder if this is too little too late. Did they flip the switch too late? Should they have done this maybe in January or February? I mean, the way that they're playing right now, if we're just looking at this microcosm of the last 2 games, really, I mean, then that loss to the Timberwolves at the start of this road trip was a very close loss as well. That was a very, very, very tough game. And if Wiggins played half as well in that game as he played tonight, the Warriors would have won. Guaranteed. And I wonder if they had that discussion internally. And Kerr looks to be really trying to emphasize Wiggins getting mismatches and attacking. And that's what I keep seeing on the court since that Minnesota game in these last 2 games. That's been a huge key for the Warriors, for Andrew Wiggins getting him going downhill, running at the basket, coming off of ball screens, like emphasizing getting him on a smaller defender and letting him go to work. And it's been so impressive the way they've been able to do this. At the end of this game, there was something that happened at the end of this game that was indicative to me of how the Warriors were viewing this game. And it was a playoff game for all intents and purposes. Steve Kerr subs out Steph for GP2 for just 1 possession in this game. And this was with about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 45 seconds left. Kerr subs out Steph for GP2 for 1 defensive possession, knowing he had timeouts to burn ahead of the 2-minute mark. The sub didn't really work, and the Magic scored on that possession. It was ultimately not a very meaningful or hugely impactful moment in this game. But to me, it was really indicative of how Steve Kerr was coaching and how the Warriors viewed this game. He was willing to burn a timeout just for 1 stop on defense. For 1 second, he was willing to take Curry out, and which is kind of what you see Steph leave the game with sub 4 minutes left in a tight one. The red flag kind of goes up, like what's going on here? And it's because Kerr was basically treating this like a playoff game. It was essential. I mean, like we said, the move itself wasn't very essential. It didn't have an impact at all on the final result of this game. But it was very indicative of how the Warriors are viewing games from this point forward for the rest of the season. Steve Kerr needs to coach like this is the postseason already, and the Warriors need to play like it is. Andrew Wiggins had 13 fourth quarter points. That's playoff mentality. That is awesome. And it's not like the Magic rolled over in this one. Cole Anthony, who has been one of my favorite players since high school, honestly. I remember keeping tabs on him when he was in high school. I actually have a cool Cole Anthony story for you guys real quick in a minute here. But Andrew Wiggins versus Cole Anthony seemed to be the matchup tonight, which was not what you really would expect when these 2 teams face off. But Cole Anthony was doing work for the Orlando Magic. He only scored 8 points in the first half, and he finished with 26 to lead the Magic off the bench. He took 17 shots, 10 for 17, 5 of 8 from 3. This dude was all over the place. And he also finished with 8 rebounds and 4 assists. He was active tonight, active. And Cole Anthony is strong. He's not the tallest guy in the world, but he's compact. He's a little stocky. He's thick, as everyone likes to say nowadays. But I've liked him for a long time. I actually saw him play at the NBA Hoop Summit in the Moda Center several years ago up in Portland, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically an all-star game for all the top prospects entering college from around the world. And it's Team USA, all the USA kids just graduating high school, going into college versus everybody else, the world team that is going to either enter college or the G League or something like that. And there were tons of former or current NBA players, including former Warriors James Wiseman, Nico Mannion, Tyrese Maxey, Precious Achua, Isaac Okoro, Oscar Schwebe, Isaiah Stewart, tons of future pros. And Cole Anthony, I'm telling you, worked all of them that night. He was on fire that night. And so it doesn't really surprise me when I see Cole Anthony on fire in the NBA. Like, he's been cooking NBA level talent since he was in high school. Like, he has been so good for so long, and the Magic are a really good team. I mean, this is not the Orlando Magic from a couple years ago. They're a playoff team. They're the 5th seed in the East, I believe, right now. It's a good win for the Warriors. This is a very, very tough team. I mean, they have all sorts of really good role players up and down this roster, like glue guys like Joe Ingles, who, by the way, did you guys see Moses Moody absolutely barbecue chicken cook Joe Ingles? Made him look like a YMCA hooper out there. I mean, he shook Ingles so hard that he straight up fell into Jonathan Isaac, and both of them ended up on the floor while Moody just took a layup, like the easiest layup of his life, to the rack. He hit him with a little in and out move and then just crossed him over at the end. And Joe Ingles just went flying in the other direction, man. Like I can't wait to go look at social media after the show and see all the different NBA edits of, like, what is going to be Joe Ingles like sliding in and falling into a pool or something, like all those crazy edits that people do now. I guarantee you there's going to be tons of those of that cross that Moody put on Joe Ingles. That was nasty. That was dirty. Moody didn't have just one moment in this game. He played really well throughout. Moses Moody led the Warriors in scoring off the bench with 12. And Gary GP2 also off the bench had a great game, 5 for 5, 10 points. Moses Moody played 24 minutes, a lot of minutes for Moody, and he did a little bit of everything. Pitched in some rebounds, 5 boards, 3 assists. He did turn the ball over once and have 4 fouls, but he played really well tonight. +7, plus minus. This was a good game from Moses Moody. From basically every Warrior, start to finish. Kevon Looney gave the Warriors a ton of good minutes off the bench, played a ton of good defense. I mean, this game was starting to get very physical early on, and Fitz was joking on the broadcast about Looney needing to get in there and hit somebody, and you can kind of see that. You can kind of feel that from Kevon Looney. He's just that kind of guy. He loves to bang inside, be physical with guys, and when other guys are out there doing that, it looks like he's kind of missing out. Like, he feels like he wants to get out there and have some fun too, So, I mean, this game was so fun. I am just juiced, man. Like, I feel like we need to do an hour-long show tonight. We won't. We'll still keep it to the regular 30 minutes, but I could just keep going, man. There's so much to break down from this game. We'll get into more of it on the other side. We got to take a quick break here. Stick with us on the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV. It provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live television. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the NCAA tournament, you're going to want to have Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. And that includes all of us at Locked On. You can get Locked On Warriors postcast, me, Triple E, in your living room. And also most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well, if you're into that. But, mainly get Locked On, man. That's so cool. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all of the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/lockedonfiretv. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Sounds like the car for you if you live in the Bay Area and want to make some trips up to Tahoe or Mammoth like I just did a couple days ago. Got to get those spring skiing laps in, It even has class exclusive Google built in and is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. The days of connecting your phone are officially gone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system, making the 2024 Rogue the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. Nissan's incredible lineup also includes the 2024 Nissan Armada, and it will change what you can expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And tonight, man, this was a great win. One of the best wins I have seen from the Warriors to date. I mean, to hold the Orlando Magic to 42% shooting from the field, 31% from three. In the first quarter, the Warriors held the Magic to 14% shooting from the field. Like, this was so impressive. Draymond Green's ejection inspired this team. And man, I thought it was going to do the opposite. I thought the Warriors were doomed in this game when Draymond was tossed. I thought there's no way that they can beat the Orlando Magic. No way if they don't have Draymond. When you're playing a playoff team that's this good, you need all of your players. Lo and behold, the Warriors pull out one of the best wins of the season. They played another clutch game tonight, meaning 5 points or less within 5 minutes. The Warriors have already played more of these games than any other team this season. And after tonight's win, they improve to 20-22 in these games. And that's a big deal, man. Like, that's showing that this team is getting better at winning these close games. And you're obviously, if you're going to make the playoffs, going to have a ton of close games. You're going to have moments when Draymond fouls out. I mean, how many times have we seen, Draymond missing a playoff game because of technical fouls, because of ejections, because of all these different things? I mean, we don't need to bring up a certain year's NBA Finals to remember that, it happens. The Warriors need to be able to adjust to something like that. And tonight proved that they can against a quality playoff team. This was excellent. I mean, the 17-3 run, we can't emphasize this enough. I already mentioned it on the show earlier, but the 17-3 run that happened right after Draymond was ejected was incredible. I mean, you had AirPods like hitting floaters, including a running hook, like a time machine back to 1950. It was, and obviously we talked about Wiggins. Clay pitched in a lot from the bench as well. Haven't mentioned Clay's stat line at all tonight. I'm sorry, Clay did not come off the bench. He was in the starting lineup tonight. I already mentioned that. My bad. 15 points for Clay, 3 of 8 from the field, or from 3-point land, 6 of 13 from the field. Not the best night from Clay. You'll excuse that, especially, on the back end of a back-to-back. Clay loves Miami. He does love Florida, the warm weather. He came out firing in this one, scored pretty quickly, scoring in bunches, led the Warriors in scoring at the end of the first quarter, and then cooled off significantly from there and kind of let Andrew Wiggins do the rest. And the Warriors defense was the story in this one, though. I mean, the way they absolutely locked down the Magic. I mean, they improved by the end of the night to somewhat more respectable numbers, but at halftime, Magic were shooting 30% from the field, 25% from three. It's a very weird game. I mean, Steph didn't score in the first quarter. If I told you Draymond gets ejected like 4 minutes in, Steph's not going to score in the first quarter, and the Warriors were going to lead 27-11 at the end of that first quarter, you would not believe me. That wouldn't make sense. You would tell me that I'm insane and that I'm a liar. But guess what? That's exactly what happened tonight. And it just goes to show you what the Warriors can do if they show up and play defense. If Andrew Wiggins shows up and plays at his capability. I mean, this is who he can be on a nightly basis. And if the Warriors can get this out of him, Steph said it. I don't remember if it was post-game last night or pre-game today, but in between these last 2 games between the Heat and the Magic, Steph even said, as long as we feel like we got a chance and someone can step up, we got a chance. And he basically said what we always say, as long as you got Steph, he basically said, as long as I'm here, we got a chance, and they do. And if Wiggins can play like that every night, they definitely have a good chance to do some damage in the playoffs if they can get there. We still can't discount the Houston Rockets and what's going on with them right now in their game against OKC. I mean, right now I'm checking in right now, about 11 minutes left in the fourth. The Thunder are up by 8. So that would be great if the Thunder can hang on. We're all going to sit here and cross our fingers and hope that the Thunder, without their MVP candidate, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, by the way, on my fantasy squad, not a great time to miss a game in the playoffs, man. But, it is what it is. I understand. The NBA playoffs more important than the fantasy basketball playoffs, I guess. We'll live with it. But, man, I really wanted him to play in that game for multiple reasons, including the Warriors' playoff positioning. But looks like the Thunder might pull it out without him anyways. So we'll be scoreboard watching the rest of the night. That's about all the time that we have for you on tonight's show. Thanks for sticking with us. This was a super fun game. Make sure you check out my Twitter, Eric_Engel, and I'll make sure to share that Steph, that just raw emotion that he was showing after the Draymond ejection. That was really interesting to me. So follow me, check that out, and tune in next time for our next show. We'll come to you live. The Warriors are traveling to Charlotte to face the Hornets on Friday, 4 p.m. start on that one. And then they finish up the road trip in San Antonio Sunday at 4 p.m. as well. Must-win games, both of them. You need both of these. You cannot lose to teams like the Charlotte blanking Hornets and the San Antonio blanking Spurs when you're vying for playoff positioning. You need to win both of these games, both of them. If they don't, we're going to be mad. And I'll tell you now, we're going to be mad on those postcasts if they don't. So stick with us. Entertaining either way. Always entertaining Warriors. Tune into the Locked On Warriors postcast after Hornets Warriors Friday, 4 p.m. tip. That's all the time we have for you on the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric _E Engel, and we will see you next time. Peace.